So we're talking about Vata Dosha today, or Vat. Vata is responsible for movement and communication in the body, and it governs processes like breathing, circulation, nerve impulses, and elimination. Vata is described as dry, light, cold, rough, subtle, and mobile. And Vata is air and space or ether. So I illustrated that here by kind of coming out of the clouds. So Vata season is the cold, dry season in the 3-season calendar. And here are some examples of people with very clear bodies in Vata Dosha. So I have Cameron Diaz, Jennifer Lawrence, and what's her name? Gwyneth Paltrow, the girl from Friends, and Kelly Rowlands from that band with Beyonce anyway. But you can see their features. They're very kind of light features, small noses, small mouths, piercing eyes, but very sort of delicate features as well. And in general, Vata bodies tend to be lean, dry, and they often feel cold. They tend to have a very light structure to them and kind of angular features, like a skinnier skeleton, if you will. And they tend to have smaller mouths, thinner lips, irregular teeth, and they can often have issues with, for example, scoliosis, because they don't have a lot of muscle naturally on their bodies. They tend to be very sensitive to cold, wind, and dry weather, but also to emotions and to changes in the atmosphere. So a Vata person will quite often be the one who's, picking up on a strange sound in the background, or smells, or something like that. So Vatas sleep lightly and they're restless. They find it difficult to sit still quite often, and they have very active minds. They're the most creative, artistic people, and very imaginative. They're open to kind of create new things, come up with the ideas for new things. And so, of course, when Vata's in balance, we have things like dry skin, irregular appetite. They tend not to eat very much, or just kind of pick at food. They tend to get cold hands and feet, to have dry cough and constipation. Just all these issues with too much air or too much Vata in the system. So it can manifest through physical, mental, and emotional indicators, like digestive issues, where we have bloating, gas, constipation, dryness, really dry skin and hair, skin that feels tight, tendency towards getting chapped lips, cracked heels. It can also have stiffness, cracking and popping in the joints, muscle aches, and general discomfort. Vata imbalance can also lead us to become more anxious, restless, nervous, and have racing thoughts. When Vata is imbalanced, we can also find it difficult to focus. We can have issues with our memory retention, and we can be really scattered in our thinking. When we have imbalance in Vata, we can end up with fatigue, low energy levels, and just feeling really depleted. Vata women tend to experience more irregular or really scanty periods with some abdominal pain and bloating. Vata can also generate mood swings, to be emotionally unstable and feeling a lot of insecurity and fear. So here are some things you can look at in your skin. So when your skin is imbalanced, you have that very fine, delicate porcelain skin. When it's imbalanced, it becomes very dry with eczema, psoriasis, again, these kind of dry qualities. So as a dosha, the Vata type is creative, it's thin, it has less stamina, forgets quickly, but learns quickly too, quite talkative, more of a free spirit, is friendly, high energy, and positive. And when it's out of balance, again, like all these dry signs. So here on the right, you have some different lifestyle tips. I got this from Google. This is what I put together. So for Vata, really to establish routines. If you don't like that word, swap it for rituals. So a ritual for when you wake up, when you're eating your meals, and when you go to bed. So these foundational rituals will create grounding and stability that Vata needs so much. It's also important to really have a nourishing diet, so warm, cooked, moist foods that are grounding and soothing, like cooked grains, root vegetables, soups, stews, herbal teas. Try to stay away from cold, raw, and dry foods, which, if you are very strong in your Vata, those are probably your favorite things. And for Vata, it's good to not drink cold water, but rather warm or room temperature water, and try to keep drinking throughout the day. You can also take herbal teas like ginger, chamomile, or licorice. It's also really important for Vata to have a warm and comforting space. So keep yourself warm and cozy, especially during the cold and dry seasons. You can use extra warm clothing or blankets and try to stay away from cold drafts. It's also important for Vata to be in a calm environment and avoid overstimulation. It's best for Vata to engage in low impact movement, so gentle yoga, tai chi, or slow walking, and avoid strenuous or high impact activities because you just don't have the energy level to sustain it. Get adequate rest and do your most creative work between 2 and 4 p.m. in the afternoon. We also recommend for Vata to do a lot of meditation and self-massage like Abhyanga with warming oils such as sesame and almond oil. Here is a list of foods that help to balance Vata. You can take a screenshot of this. I'm not going to read it all. And so Vata season is really the dry, cold season. So sort of the end of summer, start moving into Vata. And if you are Vata, then just make sure that you try to keep a regular schedule and that you allow yourself ample time to calm down.